Hey there, welcome back to New Eyes Open. Showing up again, another day for me, showing up for you, and encouraging you to show up for yourself. So, yesterday on my video was a little more of a storytelling and present moment in the now. You got to see lots happening yesterday. If you tuned into that, there was some resistance showed up and all the things, had to work through a few things on that video. But I mentioned in there that one of my intentions right now, and one of my intentions right now was to show up more and be at ease with the unknown, specifically be at ease with being in the present moment, and also speaking and allowing myself to be seen in the present moment. And I mentioned how that shows up. So if you've been to this channel before, if you haven't, hi, my name's Stephanie. I'm doing this challenge for myself currently of showing up every day on YouTube for the month of January, just to get into the habit of recording videos, and with the intention of eventually showing up every day to record a version of the same video and only posting once a week, and posting the best version of the video I can, so that you guys are getting the most juice, out of the squeeze. So anyways, yesterday I mentioned that this whole showing up and allowing myself to be seen in the present moment, part of that came from my contemplation practice and is in my human design chart, and also, astrology as well. So it's twofold, right? So this is coming from two different places. If you're familiar with human design, you know that there's the unconscious or the design side of your chart, and then there's the conscious or the personality side of your chart. And you have gates that are activated, along throughout your body and your energy system, based on, the date and time and place where you were born, and how everything lines up in the sky. And that actually leads me to, I do want to say I practice true sidereal, or I follow true sidereal astrology and human design, and actually map my gene keys readings to true sidereal placements, because true sidereal is looking at the true sky, the actual sky that's up above us, where the stars are up above us on any given day. Whereas tropical astrology is more, it's like they took a picture of where the stars were 2,000 years ago and set up this whole system, the tropical astrology system, to follow that picture. Well, the thing is, over 2,000 years, a lot has changed in the sky because of different progressions and the rotation of the Earth and all these other things. We can get into it another time, but suffice it to say that it's shifts slightly every year. And so you can imagine, if it's shifting slightly every year, then 2,000 years, it shifted quite a bit. So true sidereal takes that into account and readjusts everything to fit. Plus, true sidereal takes into account the 13th sign, Ophiuchus, which Ophiuchus is like the I don't want to get in trouble by saying, who's going to get in trouble? Anyways, it's like the Christ sign. It's basically the resurrection sign. So you've gone, if you go through all 12 of the houses, you've gone from everything from your preconception phase all the way through your development and learning phases, and into your death phase, and the rebirth phase is Ophiuchus, represents the rebirth. So really cool rabbit hole to dive down if you want to. Someday I might do videos in the future on that, but I'm not I use these tools for my own self-reflection, but they're not really my number one focus. Although right now, if you go over to my Instagram, they look like my only focus because I did the same thing on Instagram starting in the fall of 2025. I was like, I'm showing up. I'm showing up every day. And this is how I'm going to keep myself aligned to doing that. And so I, every week, had posted the current gate that the sun was transiting through and the earth, the opposing gate, just to show how those energies balance out. My mentor, Annalena, is very much, she created a whole document. She calls the two different energies, you know, the two sides of the coin. So the sun energy and the earth energy create this coin. And she calls them the genius coins. And that's enough of the backstory. What I am talking about today is just giving you some background on why I am doing this particular challenge for myself of showing up. And part of it is because my North Node, both in my conscious and unconscious sides, so design and personality side of my human design chart, is gate 20. So North Node, gate 20. Let me read a little bit about gate 20 for you. In Annalena's work, she has extracted, she's taken into consideration the I Ching, which is what the human design system is based off of, and a little bit of Kabbalah as well. So she's taken that into account. She's taken into account the human design gate descriptions, and she's taken into account the gene keys, which are like an evolution from human design. So all of that, and synthesized it into this archetype that describes each of the gates or gene keys. You'll hear me use those interchangeably because they're basically the same thing. And she calls them the genius archetypes. So gate 20 or gene key 20, in her genius archetype language, the name of 20 is the present moment sage. So there you go, getting really good with being okay in the present moment. For the gene keys, there are 3 different levels for each gene key. It's the shadow, the gift, and then the city. And shadow makes it sound bad, but actually you have to think of it more like the soil, the stem, and the flower or the fruit. Okay, so shadow is not bad. Shadow is really collectively where we're at right now. It's this fear-based frequency that we all are born into and eventually have to transcend above in order to be our, the us we were created to be. So the shadow of gate 20 or gene key 20 is superficiality. The gift is self-assurance, and the city is presence. So the city is like the highest version of that. The I Ching hexagram name for this gate 20 or 20th hexagram is contemplation, which if you have looked at my my Instagram, you will see that guiding contemplation is something I love to do, and contemplating the gene keys, like honestly, if that could be my job, that's probably what I would do, which is going to be something I will probably roll into these future videos a little more. And the human design gate is called the now. So there you have it. That is part of why I am wanting to get more comfortable with showing up in the present moment and the now. My North Node is that, and even beyond that. So these tools have illuminated this for me, but in all reality, even before these tools came into my life, like before I ever knew anything about human design or the gene keys, I had already started my first version of New Eyes Open, and had, you know, looked into starting a blog, learned to start a blog, started writing a blog, even though I hadn't shared it. And so your North Node is this thing, this direction that you are meant to go in your life. You're meant to develop into in your life. It's not easy yet, but it's something that you're supposed to be focused on. So there you go. And so it just aligned with, okay, I have, and it's also, you also typically experience a lot of resistance towards doing this. And what do you have to do with the resistance? Well, you just have to push through it, or accept it until the moment comes when it is time for you to rise above it. And that is pretty much what happened for me last year. I got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm noticing the pattern where starting in, 2006, I knew I wanted to get my voice out there through a blog. I didn't do it. I created the blog. I created the vehicle for the blog, but I never actually wrote the blogs or published any of them. Then 7 years later, 7-year cycles here, 7 years later, in 2013, I was in between jobs and really wanted to stay home with my kids, thought about the blog again and was like, I really should do that. That's really what I'm feeling called to do. I came up with an entire content strategy for it. I even wrote some of the blogs. I started to revive the blog that I had created in 2006, but kind of got lost in all the tech details of it and gave up, didn't do it, and that lay dormant again. 2019, about 6 years later, I start getting up the courage and the momentum and feeling the call again to put my voice out there. This time I have the website, the blog, I write the articles, the blog posts, I actually start posting them, I start getting on Instagram a little more, and then 2020 happens. Life just shattered in all different kinds of ways that I could never have expected. And instead of continuing with the blog, I chose to shut it down. And so here we are, 2026. And last year I knew we were coming up on 2026. Another 6 years has gone by. I haven't done the blog. Actually, I take that back. I revived my website and actually completely rebranded and went in a different direction back in 2023. And quickly came up against the same resistance of being visible, this visibility resistance. And then have been kind of playing this game of, putting strategy before visibility for the past 2.5 years. And last year I was like, you know what? I've just got to do it. And every time I try to script something, it doesn't sound like me. I sound like a robot. I just need to speak. And I can speak. I'm good in person, one-on-one, having conversations with people. But this time the block was, since 2020 and everything I went through, I have felt like I have a very difficult time accessing my logical mind. I don't know how else to say that. It has been very difficult to articulate the thoughts, articulate thoughts in a way that follows a logical sequence like I used to be able to do quite well. And just recently I've felt like I have access to that again. Not quite up to par to where I would like it to be yet, but I think that is that's part of why I'm doing this, is because I know that I just need to start speaking again, and eventually the logical side will fully come back online and it'll just make sense. Or I just need to be okay with it being more creative and more of a circular, fluid process versus a linear, logical process. Maybe that's what it is. So, North Node, in Gate 20, or Gene Key 20, however you want to look at it, definitely showing me that I need to get better at living in the now, receiving guidance in the now, and being okay with the unknown, and just showing up and letting God flow through this vessel, right? And the other piece of that is in astrology, both tropical and true sidereal, my ascendant sign, my rising sign, which is, you can think of what you're rising into in this world, the direction you're headed, is Leo. And Leo is, all about visibility, allowing yourself to be seen and heard and expressed. So here we are. That's where we're at. I will say this is a little bit of a different format from my other videos. And with that, I will tag on, if you are interested in learning more about your human design or your gene key profile from a true sidereal lens, so seeing yourself with new eyes open from a different lens than what maybe you have been exposed to before, if you are familiar with those tools, true sidereal will give you a different way to look at yourself. And if you've never heard of this before, like what in the world is human design, what in the world's gene keys, I would love to talk to you about it. And in the link below, my one-on-one calls for right now are pay what feels aligned. And I know that can cause some people some pressure. So I can also just give you a price if it feels easier to just pay a price than try to pick a price that feels right. I get that. So whichever way, I can give you a price or you can pay what feels aligned. And I have it set up like that because I want this to be accessible, because I have gone through a season of being a single mom who was doing all the things, paying all the things, and I understand sometimes those of us that need help in any given moment the most might not have the resources at that time to pay it. So I would like to pay it forward this way because I've definitely had people pay it forward for me. So, yeah, if you want to learn more about your own human design, or if you just want to look at, I do a very intuitive, as you can probably guess, in the moment, present reading of your human design chart. So we might just deep dive into one aspect of your human design chart. I would love to do that with you. I used to call these contemplation sessions because it's not like this is not a predictive thing. This is more of a, hey, you show up, we use human design as the vehicle to allow the message to flow through for you, whatever you're meant to hear in the moment. And my philosophy is, if you're listening to my voice right now and it resonates, and you feel like I am someone you need to speak to, it's because there is a message that's meant to come through me for you at some point in time. And if now's not the right time, that's okay too. Like, totally go with your intuition on it. And yeah, if you have any comments about this, leave them down below. I, as always, covet your likes, your shares, your subscribes, all the YouTube-y things that the algorithm likes, so that this can get out to more people. And yeah, with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back tomorrow, one final day of the month, this month of showing up. So see you back tomorrow on Friday. Until then, be well, my friend.